before the cut, ain't sure after the cut, Yeezy, before the cut, Shumper, after the cut, Beasley. I don't know why I keep saying that in my head. I don't know if that has anything to do with this message, but if you watch Battle Rap, URL TV, Susurf and Tay-Rock versus DNA and K-Shine, that is legendary. But anyway, speaking of legendary though, we are, during this solar eclipse, during Sagittarius season, bringing our legendary selves to life. Or at least we envision ourselves playing out in a legendary mythological story. But the conflict, since we have the Sun, Moon and Mercury squaring Neptune and Pisces, is whether or not the current potential that you're at, the current state of the current awareness and techniques that you've cultivated with your higher self, whether or not that is ready to meet or merge into that experience, that the mystical experience, the otherworldly, transcendent boundlessness of your myth, I guess, your higher self's myth, and what story is here to carve out. Or it's even a case of like a perception of your higher self and what you believe yourself to be being in conflict with how your spirit team feels about you and where you're headed and your potentials. Like, you might even be limiting yourself. You might be a lot higher. You have way more potential than you realize. You're way more inspiring than you realize. People view you in a much larger light than you realize, or a much lesser light than you realize. It's things like that, and this is a transit that will allow you to feel into experiences where you start to understand more of how a collective innately perceives you, or what they project onto you based on the light that the light, your light in motion, and what effect that has on them. You know, what they see, how they see themselves in that. You know, does that make sense? But I'll go through more of that as I break down my notes. But yeah, it's Retro J, aka Jsoteric, aka Just Jacob. Many more names to come. This is Take Flight season. We're in Sagittarius season. This is motion picture movie scenes. Like Peace Dealer says, Gemini season, Virgo season, Sagittarius and Pisces season are the happenings of the zodiac. Hence why the signs are so mutable. And they also represent different forms of magic and their different techniques too. Sagittarius is fire magic, fire techniques. So techniques that are formed based on how you feel within, expressing that, how you're going to express how you feel within in manipulative kind of ways, creative ways, finding creative ways to express what's within, and creative ways to bring you what you envision for the future to life as well. And fire deals with potential, energy, and the future, because fire burns through matter. So what do you see your future self doing? That's what this season is about, creating the circumstances for. As long as it's backed, the light will continue to paint these pictures out for you and manipulate the reality around you based on your ascended higher perception and expanded creativity. However, there has to be meaning and purpose behind it. That's what is. Do you truly believe in this dream that you're trying to bring out, this illusion that you're trying to make space for? Do you truly believe in it? That's another thing. And we're feeling more into this with the solar eclipse in Sagittarius at 12 degrees, which is a Pisces degree, which accentuates the element of magic to this transit, the magical, extra-dimensional, transcendent, also karmic, not destined, but karmic, and even just illogical, logic-defying quality to this new transition in time. But anyway, based on what I wrote, I want to keep this short, under 10 minutes. This transit, we have a square Neptune, like I said, in conjunct Uranus and Taurus, which is still retrograde. What else? It is. Yes, the square to Neptune, quincunx to Uranus, trine Chiron in Aries, and sextile Saturn in Aquarius too. Obviously, it was sextile Jupiter in Aquarius, but I'm talking about this exact point. I'm a Leo, okay? I'm a Leo. I'm gonna paint a fixed image, a still image, a still point. Sagittarius can cover the motion. I can still do that. I could do that, but I'm here to give you this picture. You know what I'm saying? That's why I do solar return readings. Get at me. So metaphorically, this transit is about metaphorically consuming a new dose of the limitless pill, like the limitless movie, as you access greater and broader perception of your higher self and future self in motion. Greater perception and processing of your higher self in motion. Going beyond the limits of surroundings that are potentially limiting to your growth and wildest and truest expression. On the other hand, it's easier to get so caught up in your grander vision and purpose, you catch the grass is greener over there syndrome. So being present in the midst of unpredictable change is the aim of the season of this period of the game of life. Also encountering new reasons, because we deal with new energy when we're dealing with new moon. It's not even an aspect, it's a blind spot almost. So we can create, it's more of an energy of creating nothing, creating something out of nothing. Feeling like there's a reset. It's a reset of energy. And Sagittarius is the most creative sign. And since we've gone through Scorpio season, which was about us dying and coming back to life and resurrecting, Sagittarius is like Jesus emerging from the cave, like as your higher self, as you being in your true potential and walking in that and not allowing anything that wants to drag you down to stay connected to you. This is why fire burns things away. Fire can deal with a lot of burning bridges type experiences. So you be burning bridges left and right this season. Can't lie. Dodging shit like Neo in the Matrix. And anything that wants to keep you low. This ain't the season for that. This is the season for being fly. Forget whether physically fly, literally fly, or just fly out in your perspective and how you see shit, but literally elevating in some way, shape, or form. But this is why the elevation energy of Sagittarius has it so close to the clouds, it can interpret higher-minded principles, principalities, universal laws. However, you miss the details on the ground, and that's where Virgo's at. Virgo deals with reality. Virgos understand the changes that happen, the details that need to be accounted for, the facts and the figures. By the end of the day, Sagittarius covers why we're even doing that in the first place. What's the purpose? You're just going to get lost in that eventually, and that shit, the physical will never outlast the spiritual. So Sagittarius understands that. So this is our re-sparking the flame. Like, why are you here in the first place? And since we went through the death and rebirth, now we're in, you've emerged now. You've emerged. You've let go of shit that was holding you down emotionally, shit that was having you down in the dumps. You alchemized it. Although we're still fighting that war in the shadows kind of thing, underlying wars, psychological, spiritual warfare, with Mars still being in Scorpio and trine in Neptune. We're fighting a collective vibration type of thing. Or we're fighting for a collective energy to be maintained, a spiritual energy. And you're not alone in what you're fighting for, basically, because it's trine in Neptune and Pisces, which is a collective attunement, or oneness subconsciously, that inner knowing that, like, we are all, everything is interconnected. We're all interconnected, even if you can't see it with your physical eyes, your spiritual eyes can perceive it. But some of these connections they defy logic, so that's why it's challenging. That's why it's conflicting to what people want to believe, with different brackets where people want to separate what their truth is or what they see God as from another person's view of what God is, when ultimately they're kind of coming from the same place. But anyway, it's all about how you see it, So yeah, we're creating. This is all about creativity, creating the life you want to live, present and future. And also being aware of everything you had to go through to reach this point too. Understanding why you went through it. Okay, continuing on. New reasons and justifications for escaping, elevating, and therefore spreading your light / awareness / creativity and limitless potentials elsewhere as a result of meaningful illusions and transcendent extra-dimensional psychic circumstances you discover on your spiritual path. This is due to the square to Neptune, yeah, and the 12-degree Pisces element of this new moon. The Sun, quincunx, Uranus, and Taurus, which quincunxes, in my opinion, represent, from what I've seen, represent loopholes as well. Things that like crack through crevices. It's like, oh, I didn't know I could create this little like portal, a little black hole, or some kind of portal that makes something come into the world, come to life. Like just through a minor adjustment and coding, a little fix here, it's like you make it work this way now. It's like, oh shit. So we can be making those kinds of discoveries that completely change the way we look at life forever. You know, life in the physical, because Uranus is in Taurus, which is a physical sign, but Taurus is I manifest. So what we're manifesting is unique to the properties we are activating, or to the DNA we're activating as we ascend our awareness of what's even possible to bring to life and create. But yeah, but also it deals with misunderstanding energy, the quincunx / in conjunction 150 degree aspect. So slight misunderstanding, but then the adjustment is what creates the loophole that only you can make work, kind of thing. It's like two incompatible elements working together, which is earth and fire. Yeah. Misunderstanding the unique value and sudden physical manifestation of your ascended / higher, broader, visionary, creatively expansive and inspirational perception on real ground / turf you're perhaps used to being separated / distant from in some way, shape or form, and assets that you might be separated from, money that you might have been distanced from for a long time, because in the past, because Uranus is still retrograde in Taurus. So these past encounters where you were separated from something that was like easy money, for example, or where, yeah, there was like everything was packaged for you, was pre-packaged kind of thing, predestined in terms of what you're going to get, what you're going to have from it, what you're going to pull from it. But now it's like your perception, your magic now, your fire magic, you looking at things from a different angle, it's like opened up something for you now, so you can grab, so you can put your hand in. So, oh, okay, I didn't know I could bend the rule like this. It's that kind of thing. Also, with Sun trining Chiron in Aries, this is the gift of seeing beyond with principles in mind. Sun, Mercury, and Moon trining Chiron. The gift of seeing beyond with principalities in mind. The reason for mistaken intentions, misdirected targeting, mistaken aggression, mistaken targeting aggression, or misdirected targeting aggression, sexuality, and raw, unfiltered but wounded masculine expression. So it's like you're seeing beyond like even like toxic masculinity kind of thing. Anyone could be, even women can be in toxic masculinity. Whatever you identify as, you know, you could still be in that, because it's just external energy that comes out impulsively without forethought. Okay. Opportunity. This is Sun sextile Saturn in Aquarius. This is opportunities. Sextile represent opportunities. The trine represents gifts. That's why I was talking about that. For opportunities to place self-imposed. This is Aquarius represents self-imposed limits, while Capricorn represents limits that are imposed on you without your say, kind of thing. So you got to deal with that pressure from someone else, someone else's expectations, someone else's status, someone else's rules. Where Aquarius makes their own rules. So they got to be their own boss, create their own limitations, create their own levels, create their own space and dimensions and all that. Well, Capricorn is physical dimensions. Aquarius is like dimensions that are in, you know, outer dimensions and stuff like that. But because they're both ruled by Saturn. Opportunity to place self-imposed limits on the amount of space you require to consciously and skillfully ground the visions and explorations of your higher self and purpose in past, present, and future realities. There's also opportunities to place boundaries on how much potential trips, highs and lows you bring to light, stories you bring to light, plans that you want to go on with different associates. It's like placing boundaries on these things. Yeah, and placing them in different brackets about how much of your light you're going to share with each group that you are a part of or demographic. And finally, the square to Neptune is the challenge of learning to integrate logic, defying mythological, esoteric, illusionary, and mystical collective experiences into your ascended awareness, mentality, and intuitive feelings for universal principles and principalities. And that is it. Jsoteric signing out. Thank you for listening. Boom, boom, bow.